So, y'all, I had a conversation with an elder. Brother about 63 years old, truck driver. I was getting some gas. Had on my Malcolm X shirt. And something about that, my Malcolm shirts make a motherfucker want to have a conversation with you. So I see the brother, I give him the fist up. You know what I'm saying? What's up, brother? He said, man, I'm getting too old for this shit. And I said, I heard that. So I just started. I ain't been driving that long. You know, how long you been doing it? He told me how long you been doing it. He been doing it for over 25 years. And he said, man, who you going with this election? And immediately, I said, honestly, brother, I'm going with the motherfucker that's going with me. And he thought that was funny. Because he must have knew that, well, I'm black, so ain't nobody going with me, thus I ain't going with nobody. It's very simple how I give out, you know, ain't nobody just going to be going with me. That's relationship, right? Like, that's how I look at that shit. Like, that's a full-blown relationship. And I ain't going with none of these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? He said, yeah, man, but we got to get Trump up out of there. I said, oh, really? Why is that? He said, man, that motherfucker racist as hell. Just like that. That motherfucker racist as hell. And let me put a pause in this story. From this story, or from this experience, I went to Facebook, made a Facebook status. If you're not following me on Facebook, link in the description box. All right? I said, now, one thing I just can't fully wrap my head around is why do older people who've lived through more presidents than I have, why have they not seen the fuckery and been upset at the fact that they were sold democracy? Why don't they make older black people mad? I don't get it. And y'all know I'm not one of them disrespectful motherfuckers. Well, I'm not my grandparents. I'm not one of them type motherfuckers. I think that's disrespectful as hell. Right? They went through a different type of situation. But I don't understand why by 2020, no matter what they may have thought, what they may have been programmed to believe, Jesus and all, why by now aren't you upset that you were sold the dream of a democracy? Why don't that make you mad? Because you had people telling you that democracy was on some bullshit. And, you know, him being 63, he wasn't grown in the 60s. But he saw Reagan, Nixon, Bush, Clinton, Barry, you know, y'all call him Barack. He done saw all this and all these games being played. And still he ain't mad yet. Didn't upset him. He saw the crack epidemic. He saw all that. And he still believes that voting is the way to go. Because Trump is racist. Can't be the most racist, I would think. I mean, it was pushing crack into black communities at one point. Pushing coke in there. And arresting us, giving us football numbers for selling it. I mean, as racist as he may be, he wasn't doing that. And the motherfucker you wanting to vote for versus him, both of them, been locking black folk up. So, it's a lose-lose, really. I explained this to him. Now, I didn't get into why you ain't mad. I did that on my own. In my own head, I started processing that. I don't get it. Why aren't you upset that you've been bamboozled? I'm, you know, merely 37 and I'm mad. This man's 63, damn it, twice my age. You should be furious. They lied. They've been lying to you. For longer than they've been lying to me, they've been lying to you. Why ain't you mad yet? You see. And then, of course, like most of these older generation peoples, of course he going to vote Democrat, because that's what he's been taught. And also he wants to evoke the spirit of the ancestors. Because you know they love doing shit like that, you know. What our ancestors went through for the power to vote. Now this, again, the only time they're going to be evoking the spirits of the ancestors is talking about what the ancestors went through to get the voting rights bill passed. And that's the habit I've gotten into now is, okay, well, did they vote for the right to vote? They didn't, did they? Okay. Okay. But you believe, this is what I asked them. I said, you believe that there is some type of salvation coming for your grandchildren and children by you voting for Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. And his rebuttal was the same as all these motherfuckers. Well, they better than Trump. And he followed that with, man, you sound like you kind of with Trump. And it puts us who understand the fuckery. Because he clearly heard me say, I ain't voting for nobody I ain't going with nobody that ain't going with me. It's a one-sided relationship, right? He heard me say that. But I think some of these responses are almost like knee-jerk reactions. Because that wouldn't make any sense. I mean, clearly I'm not supporting Trump. But it puts people who see the illusion of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, it puts us at, in a position where it looks like we may be, vouching for Trump. It may look like that. That's just not the case. I understand that all these motherfuckers is trash, and before they was trash, the whole system has been trash against my people. The whole thing. They sold us the idea that democracy was real. That is one of the greatest mind fucks ever played on people. The idea that democracy is real. Although we have the Electoral College, and although we have these lobbyists, and I made a post the other day asking people to look up plutocracy and oligarchy. Of course, people probably didn't do it, but I didn't get into all this with this older black man, because I was trying to get the fuck up out of there at this point without being disrespectful to him. But I did ask him, how do you feel at the fact that you able to live long enough to see a so-called black president and still black people are in no better position? That question stumped him. Because I wanted to know how he felt. I didn't care whether he voted for Barack or not. Because I know his old ass did based on what he was talking to me about. I wanted to know how he felt now. How does that make older people feel? To be sold that type of dream, that type of illusion. And now here we are again at that same type of, crossroads. And the answer this time is another racist white man. How does that make you feel? Why aren't you upset and insulted by that? Why do you believe voting is a liberator for our people, and you've seen it not be a liberator for our people for longer than I've even been privy to it? You've been privy to it before me. Why you ain't mad? You see, this is what I wonder. I told him I wasn't voting. Now he tried to invoke the spirits of the ancestors on me, but that didn't work on me. Because that ain't gonna work on me. It don't matter who tries it, who does it, who feels like that's logical. My ancestors were murdered. Been murdered. They went up there because they believed that the illusion that was created for them was real. That through voting somehow we would get some form of liberation. If we just voted Democrat, because they were, of course, less racist, less overtly racist than Republicans. And a lot of these older people will try to transpose their fears on you. That's what they'll try to do. Well, if you don't vote, then it's going to all go to hell. Go to hell? Where you been? Where you at now? I'm confused. 63 years old, still having to work to live, driving these trucks for this long, you still having to work like that to live. That's reality. Now, he let me go on about my business, because he saw that I wasn't going to be, I wasn't going to be swayed. I'm not scared of racist Donald Trump. I'm not scared of racist Joe Biden. And thus, I don't care which one of them bitches win. I do know, though, that Biden isn't a better alternative. I don't believe that. I don't believe that based on the simple numbers of how many people, black people, that crime bills that Joe Biden were okay with, Kamala Harris has been okay with in practice and imposed, locked our people up. I'm not okay with that, right? And, when I see these older people, and I'm understanding of the things that they went through, but I never understand why they aren't more mad than me when you've been getting fucked over for longer than me. You should be what that young kids calling big mad. Like, why ain't you big mad? Why are you still talking about voting? You should be mad at the fact that you believed in this shit for this long and it ain't done shit for people. Not for our people. It's only benefited those who already got money. That's it. That's all. Not my fault. That's how it is. But I question the older generation. I question their thought process, because none of it doesn't make sense to me. This ain't no disrespectful shit. This is trying to understand why you not mad. They've been playing games with you like this. Why the fuck are you not upset? Why are you still talking about, Donald Trump race? Is like, okay, you've been living long enough to see more races than Donald Trump. You've been living longer than that. You've also been living long enough to where you get a racist president, so-called overtly racist president, get a not so overtly racist president, and you've seen nothing change. You've been here through that. So why is voting still your answer? I want to see. Hopefully some older people can respond to this. This brother was 63. Living through the 80s, and I don't see it. I don't understand it. Again, it's I'm not my grandparents shit. As far as, them fighting back, some of our grandparents did fight back. That's all there is to it. But I don't understand how you were out here, been out here, and now what you got for me is voting. That's the solution. But by now, you should see more than me. You should see that shit is trash. You supposed to know it by now. I'm not letting our grandparents off the hook for that shit. I know I said people commenting on my post, they was like, well, you gotta understand the times they came through, and like I understand the times. What I don't understand though is they've been sold an idea of democracy that they should have seen by now is some bullshit. I can't let them off the hook for ignoring that. I can't do it. These are the same minds as raising kids, raising people my age. Out here acting like going and voting for some damn presidents is doing some shit for us. It's not. And I have yet to see or be convinced of any argument that makes Joe Biden or Kamala make sense other than Donald Trump is racist. So are they. That's not a good argument if it's equal on both sides. That doesn't make any sense. It's the same. But y'all comment if you need to comment. Respect to that truck driver. Respect to even the elders. But y'all gonna have to explain this shit. Because y'all done played a lot of games. Y'all done continue to allow this government to play a lot of games with you. And thus, by proxy, it allowed them to play a lot of games with us. Some of us waking up. And y'all want to stifle that and make it seem like that's disrespectful for us to be waking up to the bullshit. And I'm trying to figure out why the fuck ain't you woke yet? I want to know. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Links to follow me on social media description box. Black first, second, and third. And I don't get it. I don't get it. We mad. Okay? I'm mad enough for both of us, really. They sold us a dream, an illusion, a mirage. And by now, in so-called 2020, why the fuck ain't we snapped out of it yet? Child Team Rob, y'all already know what the fuck it is. I'm out.